Hello sir, greetings from Team Amalthya and Blithchron.
So today we have with us Professor Jaison Manjaly, and he has been with IIT Gandhinagar ever since day one. And today is the foundation day of IIT Gandhinagar, 15 years of this institute. What was your vision for the future of the institute?
Thank you so much for inviting me to speak with you on the foundation day. I'm excited to be here. IIT Gandhinagar always wanted to be an inclusive, empathetic institution where the center of all its decision making, progress, processes, or for that matter any policies that we kind of create, that we wanted the students to be the center of this one. We wanted the educations to be the center of all our priorities. When I say students and education as the priority of the institution, most of the institutions of higher educations, like if you look at IITs, of course there is education, there are students. I think beyond all of that, I think there is kind of a sense, if you look at how the faculty or the institutional priorities operates, there is a lot of emphasis on what it makes is that once that takes over the priorities of education and students, the educational aspect of it, that educational experience that we would provide to the students takes a backseat. So IIT Gandhinagar always wanted to excel in research, but at the same time we always wanted to have and provide IIT Gandhinagar students an outstanding educational experience. So I would say the vision of IIT Gandhinagar is how do we provide IIT Gandhinagar students an outstanding educational experience.
So as you know, there are several unique elements to our institute. For example, say the unique names of our hostels. Where did you derive these unique ideas for making sure that IIT Gandhinagar stands out from other institutes? What according to you is so special about IIT-GN?
So as I said, IIT Gandhinagar will stand out from other institutions because we provide our students an unmatching, unparalleled educational experience. Now, while we were constructing the campus, and we knew that we are going to have a new campus, a new way of life, new experiences. So I thought that in order to kind of create a new culture for the institution, it is important to have our own vocabularies. So culture and the language is very well intertwined. Like you kind of create new culture, new lingos, new language evolves along with it. So we thought it is important to create our own lingos, our own language, and then evolve meaning out of it. So the reason why we gave the hostels this very unique name is because we wanted to create our own culture. We wanted to own our own culture. We wanted to own our own institutions. It is not because, we could have named anything for that matter. If you go to other institutions, you will see, names of the mountains or names of the rivers or names of the people. But we thought that it's important to set certain, initial frameworks. So we thought it's important that we create unique names for the hostels, and therefore the students will start identifying, trying to, ascribe new meanings to their way of life.
So, sir, how do you think is cultural engagement, induction of HSS courses and in the academic plan, and initiatives like CCL instrumental in shaping the student's career?
From day one, we were very clear. The initial founding team was very clear that we would like our students to have, as I said, it's all part of this whole idea of an outstanding educational experience. How do you provide an outstanding educational experience if our students are not adequately exposed to certain domains where so when IITs were established, our probably primary motive was that we had scarcity of engineers, so-called engineers. Therefore, we need to start, that's a time of independence where, we were completely dependent on external factors for our engineering requirements. We had hardly few institutions where engineering was a part of the academic program. But then, at that point in time, when IITs were conceived, they thought that, we need to have a lot of engineers, good engineers. Of course, that was a necessity at that point in time. But if you look at the early curriculums of, if you happen to read IIT Kharagpur, which was established the first IIT, if you look at their first curriculum, you will still find there were HSS courses there. The idea is not just that, we have to give HSS course. It is about providing the possibility that engineers are not, just engineers. They are also people who would interact with people around them. Their possibilities and solutions need to be aligned with the societal requirement. That is one aspect of it. The second aspect of it, the world is moving very fast. World is becoming extremely interdisciplinary. You are looking at, you cannot live, in a space where you are only looking at one-dimensional aspect. So if you have to look at any of the major, engineering inventions or engineering products, there is always a requirement of different kinds of disciplines coming together. You need, psychologists, you need sociologists, you need brain scientists who are dealing with neuroscience. You need people, you need mathematicians, you need different kinds of people, you need designers, you need policymakers, you need all kinds of different kinds of people come together to create an amazing solutions for the society. We believe that it is important for IIT Gandhinagar to give that, space for our students to go through that experience, that how different disciplines coexist and also can benefit from each other. Therefore, we thought that it was not just HSS per se. So if you look at our curriculum, you have HSS component. Now we have general education component. You have sports, you have art initiatives. There are multiple things. So an educational institution as a university, it is all about, how the students can actually get an experience of this multidisciplinary, coexistence, So therefore we thought that it is important to introduce these, subjects, possibilities for the students. Among all IITs, probably IIT Gandhinagar has the large, substantial component of humanities and social science, general education component, even sports. And that we believe is actually adding to your educational experience.
Sir, do you think that taking admission into a developing IIT is better than an old one? What would be your philosophy behind that?
I think that is like, it doesn't matter whether you are taking an admission in an, older institution or a new institution. What you need to look at is, what are the foundational values of that institution? Or even if they had foundational values, do they still hold? Do they still, the current community is mindful of those values? That's most important. It doesn't matter whether you are in an old institution or a new institution, whether when you go to that space, whether you have the possibilities of taking initiatives on your own. Is that institution inclusive? Is there the possibility of, having, expanding, students, aspirations? Does it actually nurture your aspirations? These are the questions that you need to ask. If those questions are answered, I think you should take admission, whether it is in old or new, it doesn't matter. After all, it is whether you have that possibilities in that space. That is what you should look at.
So as you know, Amalthya, our technical summit, and Blithchron, our cultural fest, are both entirely student-run events. So how do you think participating in organizing teams like this impact IIT-GN students?
You need to look at, is there opportunities for me to take initiatives? That's exactly why Amalthya or Blithchron actually evolved. It was completely driven by students. I remember in 2008, when I joined this, we had 90 students, undergraduate students. They were super excited about putting up their first cultural festival, and they were like, they would come, discuss, ideate. They will always wanted to do it on their own, which was like, at that point in time, I thought like, this is amazing. Like, students want, and then we said that, we will absolutely have no institute will not interfere in how they conduct their business. And that worked out very well. So I remember, the first batch of students like Sarthak, for example, he was taking initiatives for the Blithchron event. They kind of put together a program. They even got, sufficient scholarships. I remember I was judging some of the events at that point in time. The interesting thing was that IIT Gandhinagar is a space where students can take initiatives without getting without being interfered by the institute. So it is not just about Blithchron and themselves. I'm saying here is a possibility that you are free to take initiatives, and that freedom to take initiative, the sense of autonomy that students should have, because they need to feel that they own their stuff, they own their initiative, they own their aspirations. Now that changes everything. So the moment that you feel autonomous within a space, you can do many things. You become extremely creative because it is your stuff and you want the best to happen for that event, right? So therefore, the kind of things that you would do, the kind of thinking that you would have, so these kind of student-driven activities, the autonomy that you have actually is something that makes you more creative and independent and better thinkers, better decision makers. And that's the reason why we actually let these activities completely run by the students. That you would have seen how it has been happening. It's just primarily run by the student team. You raise the money, you decide whom to call, you decide what to do, your business.
So sir, let's talk more about the Foundation Day celebration at IIT Gandhinagar that is going to be held today evening. So could you share some memories of the Foundation Day celebrations that have been held over the years, and what is special about this time?
I think I don't have a lot of memories about Foundation Day. I think we never used to celebrate Foundation. I think there was one or two occasions where we kind of, we used to celebrate. I think it was not something that we used to do every year. Probably because it was little fussy in the sense which day, because the institute started on some other day, the classes started a different day, the students came on a different day. So at that point in time, the institutions don't start on day, one particular day. So it is a process. So I think it is not like, there's a day of independence or day of republic or, things like that. But it was like more of a, kind of a continuum. There were several things that were happening, the government actually announcing the establishment of IIT, IITs being mandated by other institutions, students coming in. It's like kind of a kind of a continuous process over 4-5 months. So I remember once there was, I think, we invited somebody, but other than that, probably this is the first time we are kind of making it a big deal out of it, which is good. It is, I would say, it is important to reflect, to kind of, and look at ourselves, like, after 15 years, where have we reached? How about our values, our foundations? Do they still hold? Are we still committed to our, value system? Are we still committed to our foundational values? So Foundation Day, I would say these are the questions that we should ask. We should ask, bigger questions, and and reflect, and also look at where we want to be in next 10-15 years. What we want to achieve as an institution. Yeah, so that's my take on Foundation Day. But honestly, I don't remember that we used to kind of make a big deal out of it. But of course, if you are doing it, let us do it the right way. And I would say that let us reflect, ideate, and aspire to become the great institution. And we have the potential to do it.
So lastly, any advice for the new batch and us?
Just keep your aspirations high. Believe in yourself that you can do stuff, and we don't need to limit our dreams. Dream big. Now when you start, these are all very cliche words, but what I realize that if you kind of identify your possibilities at a higher level, you are likely to kind of aspire for it. Instead of becoming one, instead of you want to become an engineer, always probably aspire to be thinkers and change makers and influencers. That is a higher level goals. You will anyway become engineers, and you will get something. But unless you set yourself as thinkers and change makers and influencers, we will not be able to kind of, it's good to set our standards at a higher level. So my not an advice, but my request to all the students that be dreamers, thinkers, change makers, and influencers.
Thank you so much, sir, for joining us today.
All right, thank you so much. Thank you so much for inviting me and spending time with me. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.